All right, Brent Porcio, TopVelocity.net. Going to cover 3 tips on improving accuracy in your pitching delivery. You know, when you're addressing accuracy, when you're addressing velocity, when you're addressing arm health, it's all the same stuff. As you learn the 3X approach, you're learning what parts are really important for that specific aspect or that outcome, right? Accuracy, command. And you got to understand command in 2 different ways. So, accuracy just means like if I'm throwing to a target, if I'm hitting the target. So if I'm throwing to the strike zone and I'm hitting the strike zone, I'm accurate. I'm in the zone, right? But I could have thrown one in the top right corner and the other one in the bottom left corner, and the other one, next one in the middle right corner. And so the point is, like, I'm accurate, I'm in the zone, but I'm actually not that precise. And that's the other word. Precision is really what you want. Because think about it. I could be throwing the ball out of the strike zone, say the top right corner, but every throw is right there every single time. That's precision, right? I'm precisely hitting the same point every time, but my accuracy is not there because I want to be in the strike zone. To tell you the truth, I'd rather be precise than accurate, because if I make an adjustment and get that precision into the zone, now I can pinpoint where I want. And also too, the mindset on accuracy is be very specific what you want. Don't just say, I want to throw in the strike zone. Be like, I want to throw to that thread on the catcher's glove, So aim small, miss small. It's kind of an old saying. But understand too, accuracy to precision. The goal really is to be precise. That's what we want. But I say accuracy because that's what everyone thinks about. But you actually want to be better than that. You want to be precise. So what really builds, I'm going to use those words interchangeably in here, accuracy, precision, whatever. To really build accuracy in the delivery is, like I said, no different in what you're doing for velocity and health. It's just the key things are going to make it easier for you to be more precise. And that's going to be, first off, linear energy. So if I can get more energy going forward, obviously I'm going to be better at releasing the ball in that same direction. Because there's 2 energies in the delivery. There is rotational energy. That's the spinning of our trunks and hips, even the arm. And then there's the linear energy. That's the lateral drive to a sagittal release, if you know all the planes of movement, right? Basically, you drive towards the target and you finish towards the target ultimately. So if we can get more of the linear energy in there than the rotational energy, better chance we're going to be more accurate and precise, right? If I get more of this, I'm more likely going to locate better than if I'm just getting a lot of that, right? So that's the key. That's probably the best thing you can do for accuracy, is getting more of that linear energy in there. And there's a lot of stuff we do with 3X pitching, in the 3X pitching drills, in our med throws and target throws, where there's a big emphasis on, and a lot of linear foot positions, to learn to push and drive and throw the trunks towards the target. And a lot of that's for the optimization of delivery, and the accuracy and the precision is a good outcome that improves from those drills. Okay, so where can we get more in linear energy? Like I said, in the initial load and drive out of the leg lift, right? The better we can load this hip and we can drive this leg into front foot strike, that's going to carry more of my center of mass to the target. I'm not going to get into the specifics of how to do that. That's something that you can watch in other videos or get in the 3X pitching velocity program. But the better we can get at loading and driving onto the drive leg, because this is the only leg on the ground, right? The better we can get at doing that, the more energy we are going to be taking and directing towards the target. Potentially, it's going to be easier for us to also do the same thing with the ball, move it in that same direction towards the target in a precise manner. Okay, here's the challenge. After we build that linear energy, if we let the rotation take over, and then we get very rotational at the end, and all this energy does is just accelerate the rotation, we've kind of lost what the benefits we were trying to gain, right? So in the act of the driving separation, that's as the hips drive, delaying the trunk, separating the trunk from this back hip is going to be key to harnessing that linear energy and then redirecting it into a linear release in the trunk as opposed to a rotational release. So if you're trying to add this drive in, but you keep accelerating rotation, you're not separating hips to shoulder. So then you have to learn how to lift, load, and drive and delay the trunk where the hips and shoulders separate, they pull apart, and then that will carry the trunk in that same, with that energy going forward. So basically, the linear energy we create off the rubber, if we delay the trunk behind the hip, it'll then pull the trunk forward and carry it in a linear path. So the first tip is going to be getting the linear energy going in the drive. The second one is me making sure you're delaying the trunk in front foot. And then the third one is we have to get into the arm. Just as much as the back leg generated the linear energy we wanted, and we had to delay the trunk to get it into the trunk so we get the linear finish, we have to also make sure the same thing does to the arm. For example, if I drive, separate, and then my arm shoots out in front of my face across my body, or I drag my arm and my arm whips across my body, once again, we've failed to ultimately get the linear energy up the chain, up the body and the ball. So the arm, out of hip to shoulder separation, the arm has to delay behind the shoulder. So ultimately in the kinetic chain approach, which is basically the ankle links to the knee to the hip to shoulder, shoulder to elbow, elbow to wrist, like a whip, that the previous segment, the segment closest to the ground, is going to lead the way, and then the next segment is going to follow. We have to do that with the arm. So if the hip is going to lead the shoulder, now the shoulder is going to lead this elbow, elbow is going to lead that wrist. So as the shoulder goes back, the elbow is going to go up and back, and then the wrist is going to eventually go up and back. As we turn, this will lay back, and the key is what we call early interrotation. This is interrotation, this is exterrotation, this is interrotation. We want early interrotation. So if I drive and separate, and I let my arms delay too long and drag, then I'll get late interrotation. Or if I try to push it in front of my face, it's still going to create some late interrotation. The goal would be hit front foot, separate, late arm cocking, but as this shoulder starts to go, this elbow needs to get up and connect to the shoulder so the arm can lay back and lag, and then once that trunk starts to go forward, immediately this arm, or once this trunk starts to go forward, it's going to break pretty quick, and then this arm's going to turn over as fast as it can. As this arm is turning over, if we turn that over with our trunks, then it's going to carry that energy forward. If that delays, there's a potential that that energy could be directed this way, directed that way, or if I push ahead, the same thing, directed this way, directed that way. So the key is, like I said, early interrotation by delaying the arm, getting it to connect to the trunk when the trunk starts to go, so it can ride the trunk for a moment and then quickly turn over to direct all that linear energy going forward. The arm does start to get pretty complicated. So if I was you, I would work on the legs and the trunk before you get into the arm. And if you need help on the arm, search the arm action of a high velocity pitcher on YouTube and watch that video. It goes into more of the specifics of how it works. Also, subscribe if you like this video, and I'll have a lot more for you coming your way.